Hello and welcome back to Hollowponds Solo Sagas, where today we are going to play our episode 2 of Alex T's game, Machine Gods of the Noxian Expanse. We are playing our Reclaimer, our Knight Reclaimer, Mervain, but our Mervain is mute, so probably doesn't tell anyone their name anyway. And so this week we will begin our exploration. We'll use the solo game exploration loop that Alex T has put in the book. But what I thought we'd do is we would start with a settlement, and we're going to say that there's a settlement in the middle of the map because it doesn't really. So the one thing I will say with Alex is you have said how to do the exploration process, unless I've missed this, and how to generate the squares for terrain for exploring the wilderness, the wastelands, but not where you start from. So you have a table, really good table, it's really good process, saying the previous square, and then you roll to see what the new square is, but you don't have a table to say what your starting square is. So I'm going to say we're going to start in a settlement. And because we're starting in the settlement, we will quickly roll some very quick information about the settlement to say where that is. So we're going to call this settlement A. So we have settlement A in the middle of the area, and we will quickly roll using the tables to say what this settlement's name is, and we will just quickly give us a job and say we are leaving the settlement, which means that we will generate, I'll go through that process, but start off we generate the 4 grids around the settlement. So the settlement's name is 2d10, and then we can get it from there. First one, second one. So we got 46. 46 is Rockspire. So Rockspire is the settlement. We can roll the other stuff about Rockspire afterwards, but we are going to say the task type. So it's all D6. So we've got task type, and then we will do what is being asked, and finally what is the target. So type, ask, target. So our type is a 1, which is an item. We're being asked to do something to do with an item. 2 is we're being asked to steal an item from somewhere. And 1 is a religious artifact. So a religious group in Rockspire has asked our Reclaimer to go and reacquire a religious artifact that has gone missing, has been stolen from Rockspire and has gone missing out in the wastelands. They have no idea where it is, but it's been described to us. Let's see, a religious artifact, it will be, what will it be? It needs to be something reasonably portable, but not too small. Something, I mean, I'm thinking some sort of hollow, a functional, it's a functional hollow recorder which plays back a small clip of, I have sort of Murderbot in mind, a small clip of a soap opera. So it's a holographic projector which plays a soap opera. There we go. So that's gone missing in Rockspire and we need to go and find it. So, process. So at each time you can see the points of interest in the squares adjacent to the square where you are. So to start off with, we need to roll the 4 points of interest north, east, south, west around Rockspire. So it's a D20 for points of interest. So we will do, I've got 2 D20 left over from the ones in went to Belgium. We'll say north, east. North is a 15, east is a 16. So north is a landmark, east is a ruin. Okay, so maybe we'll go into the ruins, and then we'll go southwest. South is a 19, west is a 5. South is another ruin. West is, and it says an impassable feature, large structure, canyon, etc. Which is probably why we're called rock spire. So it's a spire built into the side of a rock. So we will say that the impassable feature, is there a table for impassable features? Or do we just come up with an impassable feature? Because I can just say it's a rock face. Hence rock spire. Yep, so we're going to say, so we have our impassable feature here, and we need to roll for our landmark here. A distinctive landmark, roll on the landmarks table. Landmark D100. So, our landmark object, 45 is ziggurat. That's like a large pyramid-y thing, isn't it? Which Alex actually draws that in the book. So we have to the north, we have our feature, then we have some ruins, and we have some ruins. So we have somewhere to go. We would probably proceed to one of the two ruins, thinking that this is where it may be taken. When you enter a square, you must determine its weather. Every day we have 2 exploration turns. Travelling from one square to an adjacent one takes 1 exploration turn. As soon as you enter a square for the first time, you roll an exploration event. Exploring or interacting with the square features takes 1 exploration turn. Alright, we have mute and clumsy. We've got technological law explorer, which means we get actually 3 exploration turns, and we are lucky. So rolling advantage, that's 2d20 and take the highest. So we will at exploration turn 1, we will move east to the ruins to the east, and we will attempt to enter those ruins, which means that instantly we know the things that are in these squares, so we can roll those. But we will run through the process before we do that. So when you enter a square, you must determine its weather. First off, we will roll the wasteland weather, which is a d20, and then we'll roll the terrain. Or should we do terrain first? Let's do the terrain first. What terrain did we come from? We'll call that ancient debris, was the terrain we came from. So the square we left was ancient debris. A 12 is plains. So these ruins are in the plains. The weather is a d20, is a 2, partly cloudy. There are some clouds in the sky, but the sun is still visible. Day 1, 1, partly cloudy. So we've gone from our small settlement, a makeshift defensive structure. We are within the protective custody of one of the enclaves. So there is one of the constructs within the main city that's a good few days travel away, but we're still within the fealty of that overlord. And so this area still pays tribute to the main city. And I would guess, based on the fact that we have 2 ruins right next to it, that the main thing that this settlement does is provides for scavengers who go and try and harvest stuff from the ruins. We would say that we have been here a few days, and we're travelling to the east now into the cloudy, overcast weather. We just have our kit. We're quite lowly equipped because we're just beginning. We've travelled from where we trained, which was out in the what was it? Something Expanse? Oh, out in the luminous Veil of Eternus. So we've travelled from the luminous Veil of Eternus because we've found that there's stuff in this area that can still be there are rewards still to be reaped. traveling into those ruins, and we're going to try and assess what's going on. So we've moved into the ruins, we've got 2 squares. As soon as you enter a square for the first time, you must roll on the exploration event table. Once that's resolved, you can proceed as usual. So we'll roll on the exploration events table, and then we'll have a look at the areas because we'll have a chance to have a look around the outside. So exploration event, D20, a 12. You come across some sort of hazard or obstacle, roll on the hazards table, D8, a 4. Landslide, you must pass an average dex check or be struck by falling rocks, suffering 2d4 damage. So we've come into these ruins, we're not too sure, so A, enter ruins. So we've entered the ruins to the east. Their buildings have collapsed. There's mainly iron structures that's still standing, which is the rebar. The concrete has eroded over the time since the collapse. We still see it's the landscape that we're used to seeing when we come to past settled areas. Rotting concrete which has collapsed and turned to dust. Rebar sticking out of the walls. It just so happens that this area is, because of the wind and the nature of how this valley where we're clearly in, has been the natural features, that the structures haven't eroded as much as they would have done beforehand. And whereas we're moving through, a part of the overcast has caused a bit of a breeze or a wind that gushes through, and we hear a creaking above us, and we have to pass an average dex check or be struck by falling rocks. Now, we are clumsy, which means dex checks shift up. So instead of being average, it's hard. Our dex is at +1, so using the dynamic target number, a hard dex check is 14. So we need to roll 14s on a D20. Yep, clumsy dex checks shift up. Though we do have lucky, so we can re-roll one roll. So we need 14s to dodge this, and 18. There's a slight crumbling sound. We see dust start to filter down. We do a forward roll and clear as a whole load of old concrete slides down off of this, what's being held together by 3 pieces of rebar. They creak, the rebar snaps, and this whole load of concrete just piles down just to where we were standing at that very second. All right, that is our environment hazard. First off, we will roll for our bits on the 3 sides, and then we will interact with this square. So we'll go green is to the north, black is to the east, north, 11, which is landmark, and then to the south, 1, nothing. Landmark, we can go to the north, is a 77. It says tomb. I'm just going to write tomb, and we will consider what that is if we go there and have a look around. And then we've got 76. Is that another tomb? No, that's a pile. That's over here is a pile. So pile would be, let's think, what could the pile be? Pile, so this is a ruined, a pile of pile. I'm just going to write pile, but I'm thinking of huge, like a huge stack of rocks. So maybe part of the rocky side of the the pass has collapsed at some point within this section here, and then we've got nothing to the south. So we're in the plains and we're in the ruins. We moved into there for our first part. We will sit down and consume the rations for today before we will move into those ruins and go and explore those ruins and do the ruins process. So we have 10 lots of rations. We've consumed 1 lot of rations for the day. At the end of the day, you must set camp. This is usually means consuming it, but we're going to do it now to avoid becoming starved and resting for a minimum of 6 hours. But what we're going to do is, so we've got 2 more exploration turns left because we have the feat Explorer, which means you get an extra exploration turn. but we're going to enter the ruins because we may be able to find where this religious artifact has gone. The religious artifact may be here in the ruins, and then we can return back to the settlement and get kudos. So, the ruins, which we will say is B. So far, I've just mapped it like this. We have where we started, which is Roxspire. The ruins to the east, which is in the plains. There's nothing mainly to the south. We'd have to move there to find out what the terrain is really like. There's some form of tomb, ancient tomb here. Then we have a huge pile in this area, not too sure what it was. That's the ziggurat. There are some more ruins to the south, and this is where the impasse is. So we're in these ruins B, and we will start the ruin exploration process, exploring ruins. So when we enter the first time, we check its size and condition, and then we'll set a usage dice for that. So what is the ruin size? Which is a D10. A 5 gives us medium, which is a usage dice of a D8. So we're starting with a D8. And then we say it's... Now we need to find out what the special condition of this ruin is. So something that's special about it. An 8, extremely hot. This place is a furnace causing you to have disadvantage on all con checks. Okay, so we will say that it's, shall we make it, if we make it an underground ruin, that will make more sense because we'll say it goes, we've found an entrance, there's a tunnel which goes deep down, so we've explored so using our instincts as a reclaimer and the training that we've received, we would know where to go and look for an entrance to an underground ruin because we've been there before. It's part of the training we would be, which we received back at the Luminous Vale of Eternatus by the charter that we joined as a 7-year-old, and then we joined them and we were trained. We would then know instinctively where to look for entrances in the secret places, in the old world ruins, and we would have found that and go underground, because if we're saying that the weather is overcast and cloudy, partly cloudy and overcast, to say that the strange condition is the heat doesn't really work unless it's underground. So as we enter, we hunt around, we find some, so we said there was concrete's falling, we find a pile of concrete that looks out of place, and instinctively we start to pull the concrete aside, where we see sort of laying at a 45-degree type angle, there's a steel hatch built into the side of a mound. We're able to pry that hatch open, as we're assuming that we can get into this. There's no sort of like table for is the entrance to the ruin locked up, but we try and pry that hatch open, it pops open, and this wave of heat like an oven hits us in the face. Something is active down in these ruins, which is causing it to become really hot, and we will light our lamp and move our way into the ruins. Or we could say it's lit. If it's really hot, we could say that there's a dull glow everywhere, because if it's extremely hot, maybe the pipes, maybe the metal, we could say that it's being lit by a glow from the pipe work which is around the area, so it's lit. Or we could do a yes no. Let's do a yes no and see if it's lit. So we will use the yes no oracle. I'm going to say it is likely that this is lit. So that's 8 or higher on a D20. I'm not going to throw the complication bit in, because there's always, unless I'm going to use the complications from so 1 is and, 6 is but, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5 is nothing. 1 and, so yes, it's lit, and it's the pipes. So it's the pipes, so that's why we've got the heat. So we're going to do that as the and. Well, and would make it more so. It's very lit. It's very well lit, which means that the light's not going to go out. We can't rest in here. Too bright to rest. So it's too bright to rest in here, and we are going to keep exploring. It's lit. We go down these stairs. We can say, are the stairs? Let's just quickly ask. I think it's 50-50, so 10 or above. Are the stairs here functional, or do we need to, or is it difficult to go down the stairs? So that would be, is it difficult to go down the stairs 50-50? Yes, it's difficult to go down the stairs, but it's difficult to go down the stairs. So, but we can hurt ourselves. So if we fail on a dex check, we are clumsy, we're going to slip down and we're going to take a d4 damage. So we need to make a difficult dex check. Well, we know what that was because it's a 14, because we had that before. So a 14 or above, 17. So we begin to slip. The stairs going down are rusty, and obviously water has leaked down because there's steam coming off different surfaces, particularly on these stairs where obviously it might have rained yesterday, which is why it's overcast today, and the stairs are a bit slippy, and our boot goes out from under us, but we just grab hold of the wall. Boot goes out from under us, we grab hold of the handle which snaps. We are clumsy. We slip on the stairs, slip, and then we just catch ourselves in time. We don't, or maybe we fall on our arse, but we don't go down the stairs, and we catch ourselves in time. And then we take it really slowly, going bump on our bum down the rest of the stairs until we reach the bottom, and then we reach the corridor, and now we can start exploring the ruins. So what's that process? Determine the area you're entering is a room, a corridor, by rolling on the area layout table. D10, what are we entering? A room or a corridor? 7, we enter a room. All right, let's start mapping these. Vaguely map Ruin B. Okay, we've entered a room. Roll 2d6 with each die being of a different colour to differentiate them. One die represents the number of vertical squares, where the other represents the number of horizontal squares. How you're in. Oh, okay. So I just did a square, so it's not that. So room, we've got so vertical, horizontal, 3 by 3. Okay, I did a 2 by 2. Well, if we do, these squares are going to be too big, so I'll half them. So I can't show you. Can you see that? 3 by 3. I don't know if that worked. If that didn't work, I'll probably cut it. Right. So we've got a 3 by 3 square that we have entered. We now need to. What do we need to do next? If you enter a room, roll on the room contents table. And use the room details to know what's in the room. These tables should help you figure out what the room is. Roll a d10 to work out if we run into trouble. Well, let's do the room first, and then we will go through. So the room contents and room detail. Room contents d6. Room detail percentile. So we've got a 3, which is it's empty, and we've got a 99, which is warn, as in a warning. So that is the verb, and then we will roll theme. So we've got warning, warn, and 31 greed. Okay, warn, greed. So we will say that this room is plastered with black and yellow slashes, warning not to enter any further unless we are authorized. Now the question here is, can we read? So we have, so if we roll on technologically, we roll with advantage on intelligence. So we will say to roll, where's the table? Yellow post note. So we will go, it is hard. It's a hard check. We've got an intelligence of +1, which is a 14, that we can read these signs and read what it's actually telling us. We can roll with advantage. So we roll these two and take the highest, which is a fail. So we fail to be able to read the signs. So all we can see is there's black and yellow slashed tape everywhere, which we have seen before. but we don't click that this is a warning not to enter this room. So we've got this, nothing else. Determine the number of exits by rolling a d4. 3 exits. So we've come in from the south of this room. There's a door on each face of this room. There's not much in here. There's control panels and various different sort of security things that we would accommodate with, all shattered and broken. There is a vague sort of haze in the air from the heat. Each time you enter a new area, ruin encounters. Each time you do, oh no, we did that. There was no encounter. Oh, did we do that? No. Roll a d10 on a 1 to 3. We have a ruin encounter. No. If there's no encounter, you've entered a room. Roll on the ruin event table. Ruin event d20. A 9. Walls become transparent, revealing impossible space beyond. I'm going to skip that if it's all the same to you. Though walls becoming transparent, revealing impossible space beyond. I mean, let's say instead that what happens is the monitors flick on all of a sudden, exposing screens with multiple walls, multiple spaces, and all sorts of things that we would see within those rooms. So if it's going become transparent, revealing an impossible space beyond, some of the images which we're seeing through these screens, as far as we are concerned, look impossible, look weird, but we're just going to keep it at that for now. Once you've cleared a room, you can search to see if you can find anything of value. Assign one character to make a hard int check. For each other character, if successful, you found something of interest, roll on the scavenger. Okay, so we will have a check around. Once you're ready to leave, determining the next area, its room or corridor, its shape and size. And I guess, so what we said, so every time we enter a new room, we'll roll the usage dice. So first off, we are going to do a, what was it? A hard intelligence tech check, which would be a hard intelligence check. Our intelligence is +1, which is a 14. So we're going to have a hunt around in this room. So the screens have blinked. So we'll go and check the screens and check around the room. A 14 is a 14, so that hits. Doing a 6 on 86 for our scavenge. So whilst we're checking out and seeing what's going on, we will have a scavenge about an 18, 5d20 in coins. So what's that? So that is 22, 22, 34, 40, 41. Okay, so we find 41 coins in a bag, but this would be, is it digital or physical? We'll say this is physical, and this is then giving us the thought that somebody has actually been in here beforehand, and they must have recovered up the doorway before actually leaving, but they must have left something behind somehow. So we are going to move through. Let's see, how long have we been going? I can't, hold on. All right, we'll do a couple more rooms, maybe 1 or 2 rooms. We'll see what happens next, and then we will keep adventuring next time. So we're going to enter the room to the east. We're going to leave through the east door and see what happens. Is the door locked? How do we work that out? Or are all doors open? All right, see for next area. So we'll come through this doorway. Is it a door or a corridor? It's a 4, which is a corridor. We roll a d8 to see how long this corridor is. It is 5 squares, so we'll go, so that's 3, 4, 5. And then with a corridor, if you enter a room, roll on the room contents table. So I guess if we enter a corridor, we don't. Determine the number of exits, no matter what. 3, so we've got 1 to the north, south, and straight ahead at the end of the corridor. We will roll a d10 to see if there is an event. There is not an event, that's a 6. there's no encounter and you've entered a room, no, roll on the room events table. Once you've cleared a room, there's no room, so we don't roll the usage dice until we find another room. We are going to go through the, see if I can show it, here we go. We're going to go through, so we've come into this corridor. We are now going to take this doorway to the north and see what's behind that door. And then if it is a room, then we get a usage die roll. This is another corridor. This is a long corridor, 7. So 2, 4, 6, 7. 3 again. We will go to, we'll go to the west door and we'll see if this joins up to this area here. But because we've entered a new corridor, every time you enter a new area, be it a room or a corridor, we roll our d10 to see if there's an event. Yes, there is. We have an encounter. So in this corridor, as we enter this long corridor, we have a special encounter, a ruins encounter, a d20. Oh, there's a creature in here possibly. A 3, a demented clone. Okay, so as we enter that corridor, there is something buffeting around. Actually, that works well, doesn't it? We will have an encounter with a demented clone, and we will see how combat works, and then we can call it, can't we? Or possibly call it for good if our knight doesn't do very well. A recently awakened clone has fallen into madness. So we have this room, so it's a corridor. I think this is suggesting that there are 3 of them. There are 3 demented clones in this corridor here. So because we have a 3 and a little icon, which I think means that per member of the party there are 3 clones. So we come into this room. There are 3 huddled at the far end. There are 3 disheveled bodies that are looking really worse for wear. All 3 of them look the same, with very plastic wax-like features, and they turn. And what are they going to do? Will they want to? So they're demented, so they've fallen into madness. So the probability is that they are going to want to attack us. We are lucky. Let's see, let's roll to see what they are doing, and then we can work out what we want them to do when they see us. A 10, searching for someone. So they are desperately searching. So they're hunting around. Maybe they've locked themselves in this corridor, and because they're just awakened, they don't know how to get out. In which case, we are just going to call initiative. Shall we call initiative? Let's see if we can. We are going to attempt to. We've got presence. We've got a presence of 9. We're going to attempt to. We've got +0. It's going to. I'm going to say it's very hard. We're going to see if we can calm them down and leave. Very hard would be a 15. So we've got a roll of 15. We've entered. They're at the end. They've turned and looked aggressively at Maven, and Maven is standing at the doorway, hand on sword, and he's going to attempt to calm them down. Though Maven can't talk, so just using hand signals, Maven's going to try and maybe flip up helm and just try and be a bit calm. So that I've got down as very hard, which is a 15. We need to roll 15s. 5. No. We start trying to calm them down. The 3 of them at once growl loudly and come charging, screaming at Maven. They have an initiative of 18. Maven has a +1 initiative, which goes on a 7. So they go on an 18, Maven on a 7. So all 3 of the demented clones who go first are going to use their move action to charge down and close into melee range. They will then attempt to strike at Maven. We will go, so what we have is they will charge down. We roll for each of them and say whether they're going to do, because they're all at full health, standard attack or a special attack. There's 3 of them, so 3d10 basically. Here we go. 1 to 6 standard attack. So we've got standard attack, and a special attack. So 2 of them are going to do a standard attack against Maven. 1 of them is going to do a standard attack. They would all 3 engage. Maven gets to roll to defend. So the 3 of them come charging forwards. 1 is frothing at the mouth, doing seeming like a berserker of some kind, and the other 2 are just quite quaff. They have their attack is easy, their defense is easy, so they have an easy attack. We need to make as our defense rating, which is a +3. They have an easy, we have a +3, which means we need to roll 12s to defend against these fists being stamped in us. So we have 2 to defend against. One of the normal ones hits, and that's a 13. So we defend against the berserker. So a frenzied attack doing a d4 damage, doing 2 points of damage. Our health is 28, which means that we take 2 points of damage as they come pelting into us, taking us to 26 hit points. Done. That's the 3 of them charging in. Maven will pull his longsword, step into the doorway, and attempt to do a lunge attack against 1 of them. They are an easy to attack. We have a +0. We need to roll 9s to hit 1 of them. A 1. A 1 is not great, is it? Which means that Maven, being clumsy, slips in the heat. The longsword drops from Maven's hand and clatters across the floor as this riles up the demented clothes even more. Their slick, wax-like features ripple in glee as they realise that Maven now no longer has that strange metal sharp stick in his hand, and the 3 of them pounce upon Maven. Maven attempts to punch them as they start to move forward to try to attack him. So we have 3 of these again. 1 to 6 is a normal attack. We have all 3 make normal attacks. So they are easy to defend against. So we then check the easy. We've got +3 on our defense rating, which means we need to roll 12s. Is that including our +3? So doesn't that mean we need to roll 9s? Do we get to add our plus to it? Do I misunderstand this? Dynamic target numbers. Nah, I'm gonna use the normal ones, because the normal ones just seem a bit easier for me to understand what I'm supposed to do. So easies means that we need to hit a 10. We've got +3, which means that we need to roll 7s. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think so. So they are easy to defend against. We've got +3, so 7s hits the 10. Which means we've got 2 defenses as they're pounding into our padded, and 1 is a failure, but 1 is a critical failure, which means that one gets double damage. So we'll roll d4 times 2, does 4 points of damage to Maven, punches him or kicks him in the nethers, taking us to 22 hit points. There's 3 of them still there. Maven needs to use his turn to grab the sword from the ground, attempting to defend against all these fists of these 3 nutcases who are attacking Maven. Maven could attempt to push into the room, but that's just going to let them surround Maven. Maven's still in the doorway, not quite got to the doorway properly, and he's still trying to defend themselves. The 3 of them get to attack again. 3d10 to find out what they're doing. 2 are doing normal attacks, 1 does a berserk attack. The 2 normal attacks against Maven. Maven needs to roll 7s to defend, which is 1 failure, 1 success. The failure takes 4 points of damage as Maven gets struck at the back of the head on 18 hit points. And then the Berserker one, which is 6, 7, 8, 9, which is a failure. A Berserker does a D8, does 3 points of damage. Maven's getting battered by these three, but Maven has their sword in their hand now. Maven is going to attempt to strike one of them. It's an easy strike. Maven has +0, and easy is a 10. Maven needs to roll a 10 on the D20. 11. So Maven plunges his long sword into one of them. They have 4 health. Does 7 points. Skewers one through the chest and up past the shoulder blade. We can see the long sword pierce up to the base on the side of the shoulder as the demented clone goes limp and falls to the ground at Maven's feet. As Maven begins to pant hard, there's now slick, weird coloured, pearlescent blood begins to spread across the floor and begins to evaporate almost instantly due to the heat. Maven is set upon by the remaining 2. Both of them doing standard attacks. Maven needs to roll 7s because of the padded armour. We get 1 failure, 1 success. The slamming of these fists is starting to work its way into Maven, who goes down to 11 hit points. Maven begins to retaliate, and then afterwards we'll see what no, that's not going to go anywhere, is it? Maven needs to roll 10s to skewer the next one, 15. Doing only 1 hit point. One of the he places the sword whilst being battered under what's it called? Just under the rib cage of one of the Dementors. Attempts to push in, whereas that thick leathery of the demented clones, skin of the leathery clones, and the heat and the sweat coming off the clone, the sword slips off of its skin, cutting across its stomach, making it let out a scream of anger, which incites that one to go berserk and begin attacking Maven. Against the standard attack, does double damage. Against the berserker, he's defended. So Maven is focused on the one that he's cut, who's going berserk, froth coming out of his mouth as it pounds, which makes Maven not notice the other one. Oh, but is Maven dead? 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Leaves us 4 hit points. I believe Maven's going to fall to his death. And then we'll just see. We'll see what happens. We'll try. If Maven dies in this bit, we are going to have. We'll do the failing forwards bit, and we'll just see what happens. Instead of just have Maven die, we will see if we can create a situation where these Dementor, maybe he'll come around somewhere else, and he's been dragged somewhere, or maybe they're dragging back as food, and we can have Maven in the middle of the ruin somewhere trying to escape. But that's if that happens. So Maven needs to try and finish off the Berserker one. An 8 is not good enough. Maven misses the Berserker. The Berserker one is thrashing around as Maven is desperately trying to hack, but he's not keeping still. Maven now needs to defend against the 2 who are the Berserker one is still going berserk, and the normal one is trying to sneak in. We defend against the normal one, the Berserker. We foul against the Berserker that does a D8 damage. Maven has 4 hit points left. 4 hit points exactly, going down to 0 hit points. So we will end this that they pile upon him, pounding across his back. Maven passes out, going unconscious, and we will have Maven unconscious falling to the ground, and we will have this episode end with the eyelids as fists are pounding into Maven, and Maven will fall unconscious, and we'll work out where we won't just kill him. we'll make him come around somewhere and see where we are. They'll be dragged into the ruins, and we'll come around, no stuff, no food, and we'll see if Maven can get out and collect his stuff and do it that way. Because it would be more interesting if we had players that instead of just killing them, we would make them explore for a bit, and then we can perpetuate this for a little bit, because we'll keep it going for a little bit, and then we'll see what happens afterwards. That's it. That is Machine Gods of the Noxian Expanse. I think I did that right. Maybe I did that right. The Demented Clones are, like, for someone who should be quite easy, but then Maven's not the best when it comes to combat. Thank you so much for watching. That is Machine Gods of the Noxian Expanse. If I've got that wrong, please tell me in the comments below. Thank you so much if you're a subscriber. Thank you for being a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, do consider subscribing. Thank you as ever to the Adventurers Guild for all of your support in producing these videos. We will come back to Machine Gods of the Noxian Expanse next week and see what happens to Maven and where we end up putting them. See ya.